All right, we're at lesson 10 for the extended essay, Undertaking Your Initial Research. This is a really important lesson because it's pretty much wrapping up your time here at school before you go off for the summertime to do most of your extended essay rough draft work. So supervisors are going to be looking at how well you've been following directions through your first 10 lessons. And they're also going to be signing off on your work. And if they don't sign off on your work because you haven't done the work or you haven't done it in the way that we've asked you to do, you can't move on. You can't start writing your rough draft because we have no evidence of you doing the work if you don't provide it to us. So make sure that you follow the directions within each of the lessons, and this particular lesson is going to go through undertaking your initial research, going through the review process all the way through to your reflection forms first entry. So if you click on lesson 10, you're going to see the lesson content, and it's really all about the reflection space for right now. So when you're going to, you've gone through the refinement process, you've got your research question done, you've done some initial research, and so you have that information located within your Google Doc. Speaking of that, your Google Doc should be in this particular order that's broken down on the website. The first page is just really simple. It's your heading. Page 2 is your EE checklist with your supervisor sign-off, and it looks just like this, where it says place in the EE checklist in section 2 of your GDoc. All right, so you have the list provided, and you have an image example of it. This is where your supervisor is going to review the particular requirement and sign off and say, yeah, you did this, or no, you didn't. That's going to involve them actually placing information on the supervisor's signature with their initials and the date stamp, and then also they'll put a comment there if there's anything that needs to be added, adjusted, or eliminated. Okay, the research template, which you all should be done with for right now because you've chosen your subject area, you've declared your statement of purpose, and you refined the research question. So that template should all be complete, and your supervisor will have signed off on that by the explicit due date. Also note that 5 sources need to be completed, and then a week later 10 sources, and then a week later 15 sources. So by the time that you leave for summer vacation, you will have 15 sources. But this is not just a simple listing of sources. It's a bibliography, correctly cited in correct format, but it's also annotated. That means you should not just have the source, but you should have the quote that you intend to use for the source, right? And write a justification that is at least 2 sentences long, saying why this quote is important and how you intend to use it. So if you've just provided a bunch of URLs, it's wrong. If you provided a list of sources with no quotes, it's wrong. If you've provided a list of sources and quotes but no justification, it's wrong. The expectation is that it is fully annotated by the start of summer vacation, and the supervisors need to see that so that they see that you are actually doing the work. Your bibliography, when you submit for the IB examination, it is just a simple bibliography. It's not annotated. However, doing an annotated bibliography now will help you be organized so that when you start writing the actual paper, it will be easy to slot that information in to your essay. So, if you haven't done this, please do it now so that your supervisors can take a look at things and easily navigate your work. Supervisors, if the students have not formatted their Google Docs in this particular order, do not approve it until they do it, and they do it correctly. That way, we are standardized in our approach. Going back to the reflection, which is pretty much going to be done at the end of lesson 10. All right, you are reflecting, right, on how you've gone through the process so far. You're recording your reflection, which has been done in all of the journal entries that are in big bold letters with yellow highlight at the end of each lesson. Okay, and the reason why you have that is because now you are going to write the first entry in your reflection form that's going to be submitted to IB. So when you reflect on this, you need to make sure that you are descriptive, you're analytical, and you're evaluative. So it's not just, I did this, and that's it, because that is not employing the learner profile. So you not only have to describe what you did, but you have to describe why you did it. Was it successful? Will I have to change my approach because I've identified some issues? Or can I continue to pursue this particular approach because you're noting some success? Okay? So continue your research because that's what the next couple of weeks are about, right? And then you finally get to the first reflection session. All right? So I want you to go through the reflection session and go through all of the stuff that it articulates. I'm not going to go through that just to keep this lesson brief. All right? But you should, in the session, demonstrate planning, discuss what you're learning, and evaluate your progress up until this point. The IB suggests that you make effective use of the session by being prepared, all right, and discussing issues that you've identified, sharing excerpts, okay, reflect on previous discussions and be prepared how to show you progress. All right, when you're talking to your supervisor, don't expect your supervisor to do the thinking for you. All right, don't pose them, should I do this or should I do this? That's your decision, right? And use your supervisor as a sounding board for ideas and arguments. All right, and finally, when you do write this planning and progress form, the first entry, you'll find it here, but I don't want you to write in that yet because that's the 2018 form. So you're going to have to identify it within your Google Doc, right, and saying this is my RPPF entry 1, all right, and make it really easily identifiable so that you can just cut and paste. All right, of course you're going to do that after the supervisor approves it. Okay, also keep in mind that your reflection form, you're going to have 3 reflections and then your supervisor is going to reflect on your work from an objective perspective to say, yes, the student did do this, these are what these issues are, or what the student experienced. No, the student didn't do what he or she set out to do. That's what the supervisor is supposed to be doing with this. But they're not going to write this until after the Viva Voce. So they'll look at your reflection. But your reflections in total can only add up to 500 words. That means your initial reflection it can't be really long because you've just gone through the beginning process of how to approach the extended essay. Your second and your third reflections are going to probably be a little bit longer. So the first reflection, you're probably only going to want to spend about 100 words or so, which is about a paragraph. 4 or 5 sentences, depending on how long they are. So you're only looking at a short paragraph, but you do want to go through the process and give the IB examiner some insight as to what critical approaches you have taken to get to the point that you're at now, which is just before you start writing your essay. All right, so take a look at these things that are posted on the website. Some students just briefly go through it and then they pay it no mind, but I'm telling you, You need to do it. There are no shortcuts. So, once you get all that examined by your supervisor, they will explicitly tell you that it is approved or that you have to go back and adjust things. The goal is to have all students approved before they leave school for the break. If you don't get it approved by the time you've left school, good luck, because you'll need it. All right. That's also why there's a week before the May 15th deadline and the end of school. So there's some time to chase students down. But supervisors shouldn't chase students down. The students should be chasing the supervisors down to ensure that they are doing everything up to spec. That's it for lesson 10. So if you have any questions, students, talk to your supervisors. Supervisors, if you have any questions, please refer to the website, which breaks down the Google Doc order very, very clearly for the students to follow. But if there are other questions, feel free to contact me.